Afternoon, everyone. This is Professor Dean. Last class, we went on the topic of social media marketing tip 1, which talked about product, price, place, and promotion. And my major focus was on promotion last week. So my last tip was promote on your WhatsApp, promote on podcasts, promote on YouTube. This week, I promised I would go over a little more of the social media marketing tips. So this week is tip number 2. So what are we doing on tip number 2? We're talking about which one should we use. So let's talk about YouTube. YouTube can be used in terms of social marketing, so your products can be sold or advertised on YouTube. Many content creators on YouTube advertise for individual products, businesses, or people, whomever they choose, they can do it on their YouTube channels. How do you know it is viewed? When you look at the number of views on that YouTube channel, you can see the number of potential individuals that will see your product. So that's one way of advertising your product, is connecting with someone who has a YouTube channel who is willing to advertise your product on YouTube. Let's talk about the next one, Amazon. If I am to advertise my product or sell my product on Amazon, what would I be doing? If you're trying to sell your product on Amazon, you may do an individual plan of 99 cents per product, or you could do a plan for $39.99. Remember, these amounts vary from time to time, so we're looking at the time now in this year. So again, there's always updates. So you have to check Amazon for updates. Let's talk about websites. If we're going to do websites, many people are looking to create a website to stay relevant, to be found when we use our search engines. And what of our most common search engine? Google. Are there other search engines? Yes, there's Firefox. That's another search engine. However, many people use Google. That's the commonly used one. So if you type a topic, for example, ARMI, A-R-M-I in Google, you'll find it in Google. You'll find it in YouTube. And you may never wonder why. However, Google and YouTube are the most commonly used search engines, or places that you search, or places that it shows posted. And why is that? Google and YouTube are companies that are related. They're owned by the same businesses. So of course, they're going to share on each other's. So let's look at websites. What's the relevance of websites? Websites, people can create websites. They're individuals all over the world that create websites. And when you create a website, ensure that your website is generating traffic. Ensure that your website is doing what it's required to do. If it's not generating traffic or having an audience that is buying your product, simply means that there need to be some updates, or there need to be something that you're doing to drive the business to the website. And is that what you want to do? Or are you more comfortable utilizing other websites? For example, Etsy, ETSY. It's a website that can be used all over the world. It does not require you to have credit cards or social security numbers that we have in America. But I see on those websites, people all over the world can post their product on Etsy, ETSY. So use those places to post. Instead of sometimes building a website, you utilize what is there and save yourself the expense of creating a website, maintaining a website, and then it does not drive traffic. So use the free places. There's other places like Pinterest, EINTEREST, Pinterest. That's a place, for example, people post their products there. So you can put it on other websites. You may want to create your website, but you may want to put it on other people's websites. See how it feels out first and direct them to your website. But ensure that you're generating traffic. When we say generating traffic, we mean people are buying your product. Now, we talk about Snapchat. Snapchat is another place where the young people are. The 17, the 18, the 19, the 20s, all of them that come out of college, they're all in this Snapchat. When I give them an assignment in college to do, and I ask them to list the websites that they're posting their information on, that's another common place that you see the youths are. So if you're marketing to young people, you have to go where they are. If you're marketing to older people, you can go on Facebook. Young people don't necessarily go on Facebook. They have told me in classes, whether they're in high school or whether they're in college, they says, we don't want to go on Facebook because it tracks our information. It does this, it does that. So they are not going to places that they're easily tracked. They stay in Snapchat, Discord, Instagram. They go on Flipboards, they go different places. So they stay hidden. And that's what I've learned from them over the years of teaching them and connecting with them in the classroom settings. They don't want to be exposed. So they don't like places like Facebook. They don't like places like Twitter. So they keep in the areas where they're not easily found and they can disguise themselves. So again, but if you're marketing to young people, you have to go where they are. So let's talk about other Facebook, other handles like Facebook. So Facebook has two sides. It has a side for your personal Facebook, and it has a side, Facebook for Business. Facebook for Business can generate traffic towards your business. However, when you're using the Facebook for Business, you need to ensure that you're having followers and an audience. Don't just go out there just to have followers. Followers are people who just click the button and like it. Yeah, I like it. However, your audience connect with you. They ask you about your product. They find out where to buy it. They order your product. They're interested in a new product that you have. That's your audience. So I tell all students, don't waste time on the followers. Work with the audience. Work with those who will support you. Work with those who engage in your product. So if they're not buying your curry, what's the point of the follower? If they're not buying your books, what's the point of the follower? Followers are different from your audience. People say I have 5,000 followers and you're broke. Seriously? Make sure you have an audience. Have an audience, not a bunch of followers. So make sure you're creating audiences with your advertisements. Make sure you're creating audiences and people are happy to know about your product. That is what I want to drive with all these people saying, I have so many followers. Does Facebook have a good page? Yes. They have one for personal and they have one for business. The one on the business side, you have to pay for it. You have to pay for Facebook for business. And when you pay your subscriptions, they will help you to generate traffic. You also have to have things out there so people can see what you're doing. Again, so are you trying to manage your business and manage a social media handle? Yes, that is going to be challenging for some of us. So decide on what you're going to use for your handle. Decide on what page you're going to go on and how you're going to generate traffic, or are you going to have others generate traffic for you? So again, in Facebook, if you have a certain amount of followers, you are categorized right one way. So for example, over 10,000 followers, Facebook categorizes you in one area. In 5,000 followers, they categorize you as a different type of follower. In 1,000 followers, you're categorized differently. And in all these classes that they teach, they will tell you, follow the person with the most followers. Follow the person with these amount of followers. Look for those companies. So if I had a business and I'm trying to sell a seasoning, I would try to connect with Grace. Why? Because maybe Grace will buy my seasoning. Yes, they produce their own. However, if they see that your seasoning is just as good as theirs, they may partner with you and says, hey, let's partner. Let's go ahead and do some business. And maybe I'll take your product, relabel it as Grace, and you get some portion of the money. That may be it may happen. That is how sometimes they do franchise in America. How they do franchise? Hey, you have a tax company, for example, and they see that you're doing well with your tax company. One of the larger companies may come in and says, hey, you're doing well with your franchise. How about we convert it to our company and we merge? You use my labels, the big labels that I have, and you still operate your company with my advertising on the outside. They do that a lot with the food companies. You're running a great restaurant and they may come in and says, hey, you have a great restaurant here. I see that you have a lot of people coming to buy your food. How about I make you a franchise? So sometimes that happens in business. So you be a follower to the bigger companies, right? You be a follower to those that have something to offer. You don't try going after the ones that can't bring you anywhere. Try to be a follower with all the different categories of groups, but focus your attention on those that can bring you along with them. Same thing with Instagram. I tell people, if you're starting a business, don't go out there and start spending money on large websites and incur a lot of expenses. It's not small. Do an Instagram post with a small picture of what you have. If you're selling shoes, the shoes you're selling. If you're selling bags, the bags you're selling. If you're selling hair products, hair wraps, whatever you're selling, put a phone number. People who are interested will call you. If they're not interested, they're not calling you. Putting a like is different from getting a phone call and getting a sale. And that sale needs to be recorded. We'll talk about that in the accounting. You need to record your sales as you go along. How do you track your sales? So again, let's refocus. Instagram, a picture, phone number, a small detail, and people will call you, whether they WhatsApp you, direct message you, or call you if they're interested in your product. So what is my main tip for today? We have the YouTube, we have Amazon, we have the websites, we have the Snapchat. What I would say for you, if you're going with Facebook, and there's a place for the Facebook for business, remember you have to pay for that area. If you're going with Instagram, and you go with Instagram, it's just a picture, a phone number, and people will contact you that way. Same thing with Facebook. You can put that out there, your pictures and your numbers and what you're selling or what your product you're doing. But ensure that you go ahead and look for the people with the large amount of followers. Attach yourself to all of them. They say big fry, small fry, any one of the fries you're going with. As I tell my students, you go with the ones with the larger amount of followers. And people in that group may start following you and they'll see your product. But don't start paying money until you are sure of where you're going. Test it first. Test it on Instagram. Test it on Facebook. All of them have a business side to their product. They have an Instagram for personal and an Instagram for business. They have a Facebook for personal and a Facebook for business. Also, there is this thing that they call a blog. What is a blog? A blog is like a diary. We used to write in our diaries. So you can have a personal blog and you can have a business blog. Business blog have become a way of making money also. All they do is write all day and people visit the blogs and you're generating money from these social media handles. So my tip, find one that you can maintain. If it's a YouTube, maintain the YouTube. If it's an Amazon, you maintain yourself on Amazon. If it's a website, you maintain yourself on that website, whether you're doing Etsy, Pinterest, because some of us don't want to start going out there and paying big money and don't know where we're headed. If it's a Snapchat and you're trying to get to the young people, utilize and test it first and see how many people are following you and how many people are your audience. Remember, your audience have interest. Your audience tells you you're doing a good job. Your audience stay relevant. Your audience look out for what you are doing. Your audience spends money with you. It is a major difference, students. If they are wasting your time, move on. There are millions of people in the world. And if your product is appealing, you'll get people to buy. So stay relevant. Stay relevant. Choose a site. When you also stay relevant, you update. You have to have like a time management schedule of when do I post on my social media handles? What am I posting on my social media handles? You have to have like a daily schedule and management of what am I posting where. So if you plan to maintain 2 sites, 3 sites, you have to have a schedule. Monday I post on this, Tuesday I post on this, Wednesday I post on this, Thursday I post on this, Friday I post on this. You have to stay relevant. People in business stay relevant. I've told people when I came to America, I was surprised what we had to do. We went out there with our degrees, and when we went to work, they told us in some of these establishments, we had to go door to door and knock on people's door in the neighborhood. And when we were finished, we had to go in back into the business and record. Where did we go? Flyers given out, and how many leads did we generate? And we were all in our business suits, going door to door, hanging on people's door flyers to generate business, because we only had a 4-month span to get a certain amount of sales for that business. We also had to walk from door to door, and we had to do door to door, where we had to do flyers and tell everybody where we are located. They call that neighborhood marketing. How is that relevant to everybody? We can do the same thing. The people that live in your community, do they even know that you're making a product? The people that you go to your church with, do they know that you have a product? The people that you see in the marketplaces, do they know that you have a product? It's the same concept like they do here in the USA. They make us go door to door marketing. They make us do neighborhood marketing. And we had to look at maps and see how many people live in a certain area that we could market to. So what are we looking? Looking at the people around us. Who can we tell about our product? Who can we share our product with? Can we go to our WhatsApp groups and send it to them individually? Is it a possibility that sometimes when you're in a WhatsApp group and there's so much chatting going on that you don't get to see the post, but maybe you could send it to them individually and politely say to them, I am reaching out to you just to share my product, and give them what you're trying to do. Maybe you can reach out to some of these people individually. Some of them you can reach to them in the group. Some of them you can reach to them through your friends. But you have to do something so you can grow your business. You can post it in different areas on different individuals' website, Pinterest, Etsy, ETSY they call it. Some of these are websites you can use all over the world, students. Right, so let's go ahead, let's stay relevant. Let's keep a time management schedule of how we're doing it every day of the week. What are we doing with our social media? Post a picture each day on Instagram. Put something out there. Put the phone number. Let them know what you do. Thank you again, students. Next time, I will have another tip for you. And there are so many social media handles. And I'll have another tip. I will next time come with the total number of the Facebook people in each categories, and ensure that you know the Facebook, the Instagram, and the other areas where you can see the total number and what do they call these followers, so you can stay relevant. For all the videos that I create, I would like for you to subscribe to the video so you can see what we have next coming up. And if you choose not to subscribe, that's okay. However, everyone needs to stay relevant. Create a time management schedule to go with all of these handles. Choose one or two that you can manage. And if you can't manage it for yourself, reach out to someone who you may ask to post it for you on their site. Someone you can trust to do this, not someone looking to do other transactions, someone you can trust. Thank you again, students. And until next time, this is Professor Dean on social media marketing tips. Thank you.